We're driving her home today, boys and girls. That's the goal today. What have we got to do? I got to make brackets for the intercooler because it's held up by zip ties, which is okay. But I want it a little more rigid, so I got some brackets that I'm going to and put on there so it doesn't shake, rattle, and roll. I got to do a little bit of welding, a little bit of fabrication. I got to do a little bit of wiring because I want to put the two-step on my horn switch. That way I'm pressing the horn. No horns going off, but I'm sitting there, let off of it, wow, all the power. Anyway, a lot of cleanup, a little bit of test driving, and then we're heading home. And then after I head home, I get that drive under it, I'm going to do a data log, and I'm going to see what kind of a tune I need to put into it because this system hasn't even learned the vehicle yet. Okay, I like for my systems, my EFI systems, to drive a little while and then I work on a tune. Just let it eat, figure out what's going on, and then put it in a tune. But you know what the car reminds me of? Because it's finally going home. It's been gone for a year. It's finally going to sit back in my garage. It reminds me of the prodigal son in the Bible. If you bear with me for a second, in Luke chapter 15, it talks about the prodigal son, how the son said, oh, I'd like my inheritance early, takes off, blows the inheritance, lives life crazy, you know, like we do as a teenager, right? And as a young adult or whatever. And then he comes back to the dad, i.e. going home, and I think it's verse 22, the son is expecting the dad to be hateful towards him. And kind of in the same sense as whenever you're living out there in the world, you expect that God's not going to forgive you what you've done because you've just been too nasty. Well, it's not the case, because what does a dad do in Luke 22 or 15:22? He celebrates. He said, go get a robe, go get some shoes, go put a ring on his finger, gave him a big old hug, said, go get the fatted calf and kill it so we can feast, and had a celebration that he has returned. Same way with your salvation. Doesn't matter what you've done, okay? Don't matter what you've done. You give it back to him. It's going to be all right. He's going to celebrate, and then you can live life as new. Straight up. But anyway, let's get into this sucker. I appreciate you hanging out, checking out the channel. If this is your first time, welcome. If it's not, welcome back. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Those things helps. If you want to buy me a coffee, I greatly appreciate it, but you don't have to. But donating to the channel definitely helps it grow. And I appreciate you. And cue the intro. Let's get after it. Alrighty, so let's recap. Okay, let me make sure my mic is all working. I do that way too many times that I'd like to mention. Anyway, let's recap. If you haven't been following along with this series, let's see what we've done. We revived the car. That was whenever I decided to start recording for Tree Row. After I revived it, after it sat for 21 years. We put a small block 350 in it. It's an old 350. Threw it in. Well, the heads were bad. Oh well, what do you do? Pull that motor back out. We put this motor in. This is a 5.7 liter Vortec out of a 1995 1500 Silverado. And then I'm like, ooh, I got an idea. Let's turbocharge it. 70 millimeter turbo. We did piping. We did the intercooler, we did fans, we did a bigger radiator. I put a 5-speed transmission in this. I shortened the drive shaft down a couple of inches. It's got the same factory rear end because everything's on a budget, right? I have less than $6 grand in this car, and that's including the purchase. You can build them on a budget, okay? So, did a complete interior revamp. That is all the original dash in it. I brought it back to looking brand new. We got some IROC Z wheels on here, which look fantastic. Factory brakes. I did boosted brakes from an 88 S10. So it has boosted brakes, and I couldn't use the disc brake conversion because, you know, it doesn't match. It doesn't mesh together. Wouldn't work, so I opted to just stick with the 4 drums. Probably not a good idea. But in the future, I could put a disc brake conversion on it, whatever. This was a budget build from the beginning. And what I'm going to be starting with today in this episode, because like I said, we're driving home. Simply put, easiest thing is to put the little mesh screen on the front of the turbo. You know they want $70 for those things? Here's what I got. Quarter-inch mesh wire, 4-inch V-band. Not V-band, sorry, I lied. 4-inch hose clamp. It's going to go onto the turbo head. And boop. Now we got a mesh screen to keep rocks and debris from going into the turbo. $1. And then I think $2. So $3 for a turbo mesh screen. Yeah, budget. Let's point you down a little bit here. As you can see, this headlight's looking a little strange. That's because, well, it's not really in there. I just got it resting. Get out of there. Yet. Unplug it. I have the headlight adjusters to mount this back in here, but there's where the turbo is. You want to see? You want to see? Come here, I'll show you. You ain't got to yell. Come on down. Bam. There she is. I was originally going to run it like this. You let me know if that's what you want. But I'm going to put the headlight in it for now. Quick go walk around the car. There's our turbo setup. Inverted headers. Purple is my wife's favorite color. It's also the name of this car is Madison. My wife said if she ever had a daughter, she'd name her Madison. So we got all boys. So there's Madison. Like I said, a lot of cleanup. There's the seat covers that I put on. There's the original dash. I just painted it double H willow green metallic, and I do have this emblem. It's right here. Got a chain shifter in there for the 5-speed. All original dash. Look at it, look at it, look at it, look. And there's the Aces 7-inch display. There's my boost gauge down there. See, I got to clean up that wiring. The back seat's full of stuff. Walking on around here, there's the IROC Z wheels. I think that looks fantastic. Look at this. You tell me, what do you think? I mean, it looks good. And if this is your first time checking it out, yes, the header panel is rotted. We have some rot on the fender, but this car sat for 21 years and did not live, breathe, or even see pavement. Okay? "21 years it sat under an awning. That side was against the house. This side was towards the yard. The owner passed away, unfortunately, and it got aired to the family. Family decided to buy it, and I bought it. So I'm second owner of this, second titled owner. Now let's put this mesh screen in. I need a flathead. So basically this is just going to sit in here like this. Not like that, but like that, and it's going to crimp around where the turbo flange is, the compressor half of it, and I'm just going to square it up, tighten it down, and bam. Hopefully I catch everything. I probably should have just used a socket. Wouldn't that have made more sense? It would have. I know. I hear you. Using a socket would have been much faster. And I think I'm going to, because I already screwed up. I ain't stable enough. 8 Mickey meters and an Enzo. Signor Enzo. Where's my impact? Little impact. Hello, it's me. I don't know where it went. We had a very busy day yesterday. Mind you, this is Saturday. There you are. This is Saturday. I don't even know the date. 10th? Let me look. What is today's date? Everything runs together. The 11th. October 11th, 2025. The day that Madison goes home. So we'll put this in such a way that it's easy for me to access. Let me look. You're the mess. Or should I say, fabulous. Okay, I'm good. Next easy thing to do. It's all kind of easy. All right, let me get a few things together because I got to get the intercooler mounts ready to rock and roll. So let me get them ready, fired up, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, since I'm waiting on some things with the core support brackets, if you look right here, you see this little gap, this line? That is my throw out spacer for my slave cylinder, because this was too small to actuate this properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to weld this in place right here. Not to here, not to the throw out bearing, or the lever for the throw out bearing. But this shaft here I've modified. I just got to add that little bit to it, so I'm going to throw some tacks on there. Make sure that that is solid. Now remember, whenever you are welding on a vehicle, always, and I mean always, completely unhook the battery, because you do not want to send any kind of positive charge through the electrical system. All right, first tack, nailed it. Second tack, nailed it. Nailed it. And again. And again. And one more. And that's not going anywhere. Have you ever had those situations when you're recording something and you think that you got your mic on and then it's turned on and you start recording, you do a whole thing and realize that you haven't had your mic on the whole time? Yeah, that just happened. So I got to go over this again with you, but I've already done the job. So check this out. So we got a two-step system in here on the Royal Flush, Aces EFI Royal Flush. And it's this wire right here. It's labeled launch, so it's launch control essentially. Now I did have a switch right here, but I didn't like that. And AJ, my buddy AJ, you've seen him on the channel many times, he's actually here kind of making something for us to go along with the intercooler bracket. So he had the idea, he's like, why don't you just wire it to the horn? And I go, genius. So I figured out how to do it. Whenever wiring in your launch control, it's a 12 volt hot. So you supply 12 volts to that wire, boom, you're in two-step. For whatever you have it set at, like let's say 3500 or 4500, whatever the case may be, or even higher. You hit the button, you put the pedal to the floor, and that's as many RPMs as you'll get. You let off the switch, you got full power to the engine, boom, you're gone. So, well, since that's a 12 volt hot, I need to use a relay because a horn switch is a ground. So I can't press this and send a ground to that wire, it's not gonna do anything. So I wired up a relay here, and I know it's kind of hard to see, but I have a hot wire, a hot lead, which actually is right here because it's my ignition hot. And I have that jumped over to 30 on the relay. So you have a coil, and 85 and 86 is your coil. Hot can be on either one, ground could be on either one. They just got to be opposite of one another to engage. So I have the ground for my horn going to one side of my coil and ignition hot going to the other side. So whenever I trigger my horn, bam, the power that is looped over here to 30 will go from 87A, which is in the center of that relay. And I'll show you a relay here in a minute. It triggers a relay, kicking the switch up here to 87. 87A is in the middle, and then 87 is on the outside. So now that wire, our launch control wire, has 12 volts. And now we're in two-step. As long as we hold, bam, the horn switch, we're in two-step. Once the tree drops, we can let go of it, hammer down the track. Now let me show you a relay. Okay, so check this out. This is how a relay works. So, this is your relay. It looks like this. This is your 30, this is your 86, 85, 87A, and 87. Okay? So, the way that I essentially have this rigged up for my two-step is I have a switch going to ground, which that's what this is. This is a switch. This is one side of our coil. So this is our coil. Our 86 and 85 is our coil. Okay? That's connected. And 30 in a dormant state is connected to 87A. So whenever the relay is not triggered and it's just in a dormant state, these two are connected. We have a battery over here with a positive going to 86. As you see over here, this is a symbol for ground or earth. So we got ground going to this switch, which in our case is the horn. Okay? And then that switch is the interrupter for this ground. So with it in its normal state, or its normally open state, it's not completing a ground on this coil, so this 30 is not going to 87. And I got this symbol, i.e. motor. That's the symbol for motor. Let's just use that as an example. So down here, I'm going to have on 30 is going to be my positive, and that's going to be my IG hot. Okay, that's ignition hot. So whenever the key turns on, power is supplied to 30. So now 87A is energized, but we have nothing on that pin. Nothing at all is in the center of this pin. So that's just dormant. There's a cap on it. Now, this up here is our two-step. Okay? So, with this being a positive hot over here, I said it battery, but it should be IG ignition hot, right? So these two are looped together. So whenever this goes hot, your coil goes hot. I hit my horn, the horn connects this ground, energizing this coil, sending this 12 volts up to 87. And now we've got 12 volt hot going to our launch control wire for our ACES kit, and we can send it down the track. That's how that works. If you need a more in-depth analysis on how a relay operates, comment below. I could do a whole video on how relays work and how to hook two relays up to make polarity reversing so motors go in opposite directions. Let me know. But that's how it is. That's how we got it set up into the Impala. I hope that helps. I know some of you guys already know that, but that's fine. A lot of you don't. And here's what's going on with the intercooler. So you see this right here? This is our intercooler bracket, and it's going down inside there, mounting to the top of the intercooler. So this is side one. We've got a block on there and a couple of rivets. As you can see over here, not so much. And it was held up with zip ties. But not anymore. Bring you back with the finished product. We are almost ready for the hood. I'm excited. All right, 9/16 on an auto ratchet. Time for the hood. and she's ready. Now, we're not going to beat on it. Like I said, this is a fresh new build. So we're going to ease it to the house, which is about 30 miles, and get a data log on it. And then I'm going to take it to a buddy of mine who he's going to help me tune it. And then in the next video, we'll throw some donuts and some burnouts. But let's get this car home, shall we? I'm excited. And I'm gonna show you the two-step. I will do that. All right, so we have made it to the gas station. Filling up. I don't know how many gallons are already in here, so we might be able to figure out the MPGs, but I highly doubt it. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little nervous. This is the first drive. First time it's been on the highway in 21 years. 22 years. Well, we got 8.3 gallons. Let's hit the road. Home at last. I tell you, the front end alignment is wretched. I could only do like 55. It was scary. Yeah, it's like this. So I got to fix that before I really get into her. But outside of that, it rides smooth. And I got enough data here, I should be able to put a tune in it. But again, thanks for watching. Madison is finally home after a year. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all the things. It helps the channel grow. I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below. about anything about this build that you might want to see improved, or you want me to do, or just ideas or pointers. I'm always open for pointers. We'll see you next time right here on Tree Row. Thanks.